Hi, and welcome to the ArtsyFartzy Club. This is Johnson. I'm so glad that you are here with me today. And we are on the road. We are in Summerville, South Carolina. And I'm going to talk to you today about doing some drawing while you're on the road. It's a little hard to find spots where you can to draw sometimes if you're self-conscious, but you can draw anywhere, anytime, anything. So I am here in this little kind of cute cobblestone alleyway, and there's shops, there's coffee shops, there's a restaurant, there's a gift shop next to me, and I am looking for something to draw. I could draw people, I could draw the architecture, but what I really want to focus on today is keeping it simple and zooming in. So I brought a sketchbook. It's just a plain cover sketchbook. And I used to assign these to my students. And the first thing that we do at the beginning of the school year is decorate and personalize your sketchbook. And you can glue on items and then Mod Podge it on and make it special to you. And then the whole book is just blank pages to draw on. So the trick for sketching in the sketchbook is we have a tendency to draw small. You know, this is actually like a full vertical rectangle, and a lot of times when my students will draw, they'll do this like tiny thing here. And if you remember back to our shapes project, if you were on that live, I believe that one was live, and so you draw those shapes in one of the rules was to go off the page on each end to fill your space with visual interest. Because if we get tight and we draw in this little itty bitty tiny spot, then it doesn't have visual interest throughout the whole page, and it's really hard to do. And I know it's live, so there's all stuff going on all around us, and we're just gonna go with it anyway. There's some construction, there's people walking by. That's life, that's live life. So we're gonna try to draw big. We're gonna try to zoom in and see what we can do. So I was looking around for something to do, and I saw at this little shop, they have these planter boxes with these flowers, okay? So even though I'm over here, I'm I don't know, good 10 feet away, and I can't, I see everything. I see the items that they're selling. I see the door. I see the windows. I see all the things. But in your mind's eye, you're going to zoom in, and you want your object that you are going to draw to fill that space. So you're going to have to, as the artist, edit. You're going to have to choose to ignore all of the things that are around the object that you want to put in here. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to draw one of the plants, and there's this particular spot on this plant that's like growing up, and the leaves are kind of lighter than the rest, and you can see the veining and the shadows that the dip in the leaf creates, and so that's what I'm going to focus on. So I'm going to go ahead and start to sketch that out, and then I'll show you what I'm doing. So I'm going to use my pencil first, and I'm going to just start to get some shape down. Now, doing the pencil lightly to allow myself to erase and correct if I make a mistake, and that's okay. And then the other thing I want to do is to kind of create that idea of filling the space, right? So I want to make sure that I'm filling the space first before I commit to using my Sharpie, because once you use your Sharpie, you can't take it back, right? So this is just putting down my basic shapes. And I've got another one over here, and I'll flip this around and show you. I had a gimbal, but I was borrowing it from a friend because I'm on the road, and it's not charged. It ran out of batteries, so I can't really show you what I'm doing at the same time. I'm used to doing my 2-camera setup, right, where I shoot me and shoot the art at the same time. And I don't have my easel either. So we're just making it work. So, okay, I've run off my paper on 2 edges. So let's see if you guys can see that. Where it's going off the edge here, it's going off the edge here. I have one here. This will create some visual interest of it going in a triangle, but I still might want to address some of this space up here and put something in. So I see a vine coming up here and one running off. So now I've got one running off the other side, and I'm going off 3 sides of my art, and that's okay. So I think that that's filled in enough, and I can do something here. I'm gonna think about that, like what I want to do in the background. There's like some textures in the wood, and I can play with that a little bit. So I like that. So now I'm gonna switch over and I'm gonna use my Sharpie. And once you commit to using your Sharpie, it's on there, you're not gonna take it back. But you're gonna want to stay relaxed and loose. This is a sketch. It's supposed to give you the feeling and the impression of what the object is. We're not actually going for 100% realism. We're trying to show the idea of it, the idea of this leaf and how it is. And this is not a leaf study per se, where I'm trying to go and paint a still life. I don't want to be tight. I want to be loose and just have fun, and it's keeping those artistic juices going for the day on your trip. So I know it's kind of hard because you guys can't see what I'm doing, but I will share it in just a second. So I'm just following along those basic shapes that I created, and I am there. So I just kind of loosely drew those shapes, and I'm gonna literally, working with me guys, I know you're dropping off, sorry, that I'm going to I'm actually literally converting it in my mind how it looks. So I am literally drawing it upside down, and that's okay. Okay. Doing a little cross-hatching, and cross-hatching is a quick way when you're not using a pencil, or you're not blending. The marker lines will create the shadows for you. And sometimes it's a little hard upside down, but sometimes we have a tendency to get tight doing the cross hatching. So just try to make them fast. Hatch, 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 hatch. So you can do hatching, which is just a single line, and if you crisscross them, it is cross hatching. The closer your lines are together, the darker the value gets. The farther apart, the more white paper is showing through, the lighter the value is, okay? Like that. You guys kind of see how it's getting dark in those areas? All right. Trying to look at the bumps and textures that this leaf has. They've got this interesting little divot where the stem, the vine stem, connects in. So just hatching. cross hatching. Okay. Okay. So now I'm seeing that some of these have like splits, and I want to kind of include a little bit more of those details of these splits. Okay. And then once again, doing that hatching and cross hatching. It's getting hot out here. It's hot. All right. Some more hatching, creating those shadows. Alright, so I'm going to keep this live really kind of short today because this is not the usual setup, right? But I wanted you to get an inspiration for that. You can do art anywhere. You can do it anywhere, anytime. Okay. I'm going to turn it back toward myself. This allows me to get a little bit more of that perspective for myself. And allows me to be looser. It's hard doing it upside down. Okay. Hello, how are you today? All right. There. And so I'm doing a little, because I can be looser as it's pointed toward me, that I'm doing a little bit of scumbling versus the cross hatching. Basically, it's like scribbles. So it's the same concept as doing the cross hatching, but in a looser pattern. All right. So when I turn it back around, you're going to see the difference between the scumbling and the cross hatching on the other ones. It's a lot more organic, which for students, they don't get enough of that, right? They're so worried about getting it right that they don't emote expression. They're less free, okay, to just shade and let their marker just go. Okay, so I'm building. The more you build on it, the darker the value is going to get. Okay, so compare this guy, right, to these. These are tight. This is looser, a lot looser. And it's still not, you know, a thick Sharpie might have been even a better choice. There's even like leaves under leaves, and I'm going to start to include those and kind of shade that in. It's so warm here, I'm starting to drip. So just making it work, people. Anywhere, anytime, right? Get artastic. I actually really like, right here. I love this line that happened. What a nice, free line, and it really expresses how it looks and how it feels. Okay, some of the other ones were, when I first started, were tighter. All right. All right, we're at, okay, I'm gonna continue. Like I said, it might scumble in the background a little bit. I see these vines, so I might play a little bit in the negative space, and create positive space by working into the negative space, if that makes sense. All right. Scumble, scumble, scumble. Almost done for the day. But this is where I wish I had the fat Sharpie. Wish I had the fat Sharpie. So those of you that don't know, Mrs. Johnson is a mom of 4, and I took off with one of my girlfriends who is a music teacher, and we went to Summerville to visit another music teacher who she moved up to South Carolina from Florida. It has been fun for sure so far. I like just getting in the car and going and not having to make decisions. I let the 2 ladies make all the decisions, and now here we are. Awesome. So, all right, so now you can see I've been working into that negative space. Okay, and by working into the negative space, you actually start to make that positive, the vine, excuse me, start to pop out. Okay, so we are almost at 20 minutes. So I'm gonna wrap it up here, but pretty soon. But yeah, it's still my favorite part of this drawing is that bottom leaf, this free-formed line, just really relaxing, you know, those tight cross hatches, and it's starting there, practicing, letting go, loosening up, and then getting into that more of a scumble crosshatch. So that's kind of the point of these sketches. Is it's not, you know, I'm not making a final artwork. I am just practicing to see things around me differently, seeing the world around you in a different way, learning to zoom in, learning to use my space, learning to loosen up my arm, to not draw from my wrist. You know, when you're doing those tight hatches, you're here going, but to really like let the whole arm start to move. Okay, so page 1, done. 20 minutes. I'm over it. Life goes on. We got things to do on vacation, right? So you can draw anywhere, anytime, any place, anything. Just kind of train that eye to zoom in and find a thing, because like here's what, you know, we were looking at. Like, did I draw this t-shirt? Did I draw the tourist? Did I draw the everything? You know, I didn't draw the superfluous things that are muddying up the scene. I zoomed in and focused in on that thing, and I made sure that it touched the edges of my page. I you know, created visual interest throughout the whole page, right? By filling that space, touching the edges, and allowing the eye to move around the page. And is it perfect? No, it's a sketch, and it's just it's an exercise, just a training, just a thing that you can do when you are on a trip. And then, you know what? Then I can write a little note in that space. I can go, okay, I was in Summerville, South Carolina, at the Four Green Fields shop, and I saw these things, I heard these things, I smelled these things, and you can actually journal right here on your sketch page. That's my recommendation for the day. So if you've never been with me before, you are now officially a part of the ArtsyFartzy Club. Yay! Thank you so much for joining me today. Again, my name is Mrs. Johnson, and until I see you again, I hope that you are absolutely 100% art-tastic.